Hello dogs, welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to see about cardiac murmur. Okay, let's get jump to it. What is cardiac murmur? It means abnormal sound produced due to turbulent flow within the heart. This can be heard during cardiovascular examination. Well, we said turbulent flow. What causes the turbulent flow? In case of high flow velocity or small orifice or low kinetic velocity, these are the main causes which lead to turbulent flow. So we hear murmur. Okay, what to check? We will check the length, intensity, shape, pitch and location of the murmur. Generally, there are three types of murmur. The first is systolic murmur. These murmur are heard in systolic phase in between S1 and S2. And the second is diastolic murmur. These murmurs are heard in diastolic phase, which means in between S2 and S1. And the last is continuous murmur. This has two characteristics. First is murmur should be present in systolic and diastolic phase. And the second is peak of the murmur should be on S2. In this video, we will focus on diastolic murmur. In next video, we will see on systolic and continuous murmur. Let's move to pathology. First of all, we will see mitral stenosis. Normally, the mitral valve has 4 to 6 square centimeters. But in case of severe mitral stenosis, it became less than 1.5 square centimeters. So it became much narrow. We will see simultaneously normal and stenosis valve blood flow to understand what's happening here. In normal, blood will easily pass through the valve in linear blood flow. But in case of mitral stenosis, the orifice become narrower due to high force in the atrium. The blood try to pass in narrow orifice, which lead to turbulent blood flow. In this moment, we hear murmur. During severe mitral stenosis, we could hear mid-systolic murmur, which starts from opening snap and at the end presence of pre-systolic accentuation. Okay, I have a question for you guys. The first is, why pre-systolic accentuation occurs? Second, is it possible absent of pre-systolic accentuation? If you know the answer, comment below. If you want to know, follow this video. Don't skip because these questions were asked in exams. Okay, let's see the first question. Pre-systolic accentuation happens due to atrial systole. During atrial systole, atrium starts to contract, which causes the more force. This leads to small second strike in murmur. Okay, from itself, you may get the answer for the second question. Pre-systolic accentuation happens due to the force in the atrium. In case of atrial fibrillation, there will be a problem with atrium contraction. So this leads to absence of pre-systolic accentuation. Can we check severity of mitral stenosis by the murmur? Yes, we can. But it is not dependent on loudness of the S1, loudness of P2 or the intensity of the murmur. It's only depend on the length of the murmur. I will explain. Okay, let's assume this patient has a mitral stenosis. So we see the murmur. In case the disease become more severe, pressure in the atrium is higher, so the opening of the mitral valve become earlier. This lead to lengthening of the murmur. Okay, let's see the treatment of severe mitral stenosis. The treatment is percutaneous mitral balloon valvotomy. In this procedure, we will puncture the basilic vein with the presence of fluoroscopy. We move through subclavian vein to right atrium. Then we puncture the interatrial septum and move to the left atrium. We insert a balloon in between left atrium and left ventricle and inflate the balloon. This will lead to increase the orifice of birth. Mainly, percutaneous mitral balloon valvotomy is contraindicated in calcified severe mitral stenosis because it causes embolism, in severe mitral stenosis with mitral regurgitation, and in severe mitral stenosis with left atrial appendage thrombus. Okay, let's move to aortic regurgitation. Especially in severe aortic regurgitation, I mean if the backflow of the blood is nearly 50%. So, we will see in this picture. During severe aortic regurgitation, the blood leaks back to the ventricle due to aortic valve defect, which causes a turbulent flow in the ventricle. In this, we will hear the mid-systolic murmur. It starts from S2 and it won't start from the opening sum because mitral will have nothing to do with it. And in generally, this murmur is called Erskine-Flint murmur. By the way, please do watch the heart sound lecture for better understanding. It's on the description box. We have seen severe aortic regurgitation. Let's see mild aortic regurgitation. We said mild, so it is obviously less backflow of the blood, which refers small murmur. From our previous video, you know about the time lag between each valve closure. During mild aortic regurgitation, we will hear early diastolic murmur. In case of mild pulmonary regurgitation, we will hear the same early diastolic murmur, but it starts from P2. I will show in this picture. If the mild pulmonary regurgitation is caused by pulmonary hypertension, it is called as Graham-Steele murmur. Okay, let's move to atrial septal defect. In atrial septal defect, there will be presence of shunt between the atrium, but the pressure gradient between the left atrium and the right atrium is 4 mm per mercury. Due to small difference between the pressure gradient, the shunt murmur is absent. So in this case, increased blood in the right atrium, which causes more blood flow to the right ventricle. This led to flow murmur. In flow murmur, we could see mid-diastolic murmur.
Systolic murmur has three types. Those are ejection systolic murmur, pan-systolic murmur, and late systolic murmur. Okay, first ejection systolic murmur. In the name itself, you can understand that murmur happening due to the problem with ejection, which means blood in the ventricle can't pass easily due to the narrowing of the orifice. From this, we are getting to know in which case we will see the ejection systolic murmur. Those are aortic stenosis, pulmonic stenosis, hypertrophy obstructive cardiomyopathy, which we will see the subvalvular aortic stenosis, and tetralogy of Fallot, which we will see subvalvular pulmonary stenosis. I'm trying to make videos more conceptual and concise because we don't have super brain to remember everything we read. So if you understand the concept well, it will help you in your exam as well as in your life. In ejection systolic murmur, we can see murmur peaks at middle of the systole. Let's see pan-systolic murmur. In pan-systolic murmur, the intensity of the murmur is almost same. We can see this murmur in mitral and tricuspid regurgitation, also in ventricle septal defect. Now let's move to late systolic murmur. We see this murmur in mitral valve prolapse. Let's see the normal structure of the mitral valve. The valve is attached with the chorda tendineae and the chorda tendineae is attached with the papillary muscles. In case of myocardial infarction, the papillary muscles are damaged. So the extension of the chorda tendineae will lead to mid-systolic clicks. If you remember our previous video of jugular venous pressure, usually we will see bulge due to the pressure in the ventricle. But in case of mitral valve prolapse, the bulge is much higher than the normal. If it is progress, it leads to leaking of the blood. So we hear late systolic murmur. The reason of mitral valve prolapse can be myxomatous degeneration, Ascough nodules in rheumatic fever, ischemia in myocardial infarction, infections, and in Marfan syndrome. Let's see the treatments. So the treatment of asymptomatic patients, we use propranolol. If the presence of subsequent features, treatment can be valvular-plasty. In here, we don't treat with propranolol. Propranolol will decrease the heart rate, so it increases the longevity of the heart valve. Okay, now we will see the continuous murmur. Before that, I want to ask you a question with you guys. Let's assume a patient having a mitral stenosis with mitral regurgitation. In this case, we can see pan-systolic murmur due to mitral regurgitation and mid-diastolic murmur with pre-systolic accentuation due to mitral stenosis. So, if you see here, the murmur happening in both systolic and diastolic phase, will it be a continuous murmur? If you know the answer, comment below. If you want to know, follow this video. So the answer is big no. Why? Because we already said there are two characteristics to be a continuous murmur. Those are murmur present on systolic and diastolic phase, and the second one is peak will be on S2. In here, it is not completing the second characteristics. Even in the patient having aortic stenosis with aortic regurgitation, we can see ejection systolic murmur and mid-diastolic murmur. But this is also not an continuous murmur. So from this, we can conclude combination of murmur cannot be continuous murmur. Let's see coarctation of aorta. It means narrowing or constriction of a portion of aorta. Most common site of coarctation of aorta is distal to the origin of left subclavian artery. Due to the narrowing of the aorta, Blood obviously go through the collateral circulation as a compensation method. In here, the collateral arteries will be intercostal arteries. High pressure of blood in aorta which passes the narrow collateral vessels which leads to turbulent flow. Blood will continuously move from the proximal to distal part of aorta, causes continuous murmur. Continuous murmur present in coarctation of aorta, which seen in Turner syndrome. But remember, coarctation of aorta is second most common of Turner syndrome. The most common cardiac lesion in the Turner syndrome is bicuspid aortic valve. By the way, bicuspid aortic valve means aortic valve have only 2 leaflets instead of 3. Next, patent ductus arteriosus, which happens in congenital rubella syndrome. Next comes mammary souffle. It can be seen in pregnancy due to increased blood flow in the internal mammary artery. Next we see in venous hum, which is seen in dilated veins. Next we see rupture of sinus valvosa. Due to the rupture, there will be a communication between aorta and right atrium. So the blood leaks from the high pressure to low pressure. And the last is peripheral pulmonic stenosis. Remember, I said peripheral, not valvular. In valvular pulmonic stenosis, presence of ejection systolic murmur. But in peripheral pulmonic stenosis, presence of continuous murmur, which happens due to narrowing of the pulmonary artery. Thank you for watching. Hope you see on the next video.